911, what's your emergency?
The following content is graphic, emotional, and includes dark humor that may not be suitable for all listeners. Discretion is advised. These stories are based on real-life EMS, military, and healthcare experiences. Calls are real, providers are real, names and details have been changed to protect privacy. They may be disturbing to some and are definitely inappropriate for HR department. Any medical or mental health discussion is personal experience, not protocol. Use your damn brain. Follow your local guidelines, and when in doubt, call med control. If you're struggling, don't do it alone. Talk to someone, a coworker, a friend, a therapist, or hell, reach out to me. I'll answer. Need help right now? Text or call 988 or visit 988lifeline.org. All right, you're listening to Dispatched Dysfunctional, where chaos has a pulse and burnout gets called by its real name. Today's guest knows what it feels like to do everything right and still feel wrong inside. Caroline Sangal is a scientist turned career strategist and founder of Next Success, where she helps high achievers well-define success on their own terms. With a PhD in polymer science, a background in executive recruiting and HR, and certifications in coaching and career assessment, she's proof that alignment beats achievement every time. Caroline, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. I'm excited to be here. And let me just say, I am so impressed and thankful for all the work that any first responders ever do. So I know sometimes people listening to my little intro there, and it's like, reality is I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. And you guys and ladies as well have skills and things that I don't have. That ability to walk into something dangerous, scary, unpredictable, and to be that calm presence that knows what's up and helps save lives, save people, take something from an emergency to something manageable when you can. I am just so grateful, so thankful. So let me just make sure that gets put out there.
I'm sure
Beginning.
my listeners appreciate that as much as I do. That's awesome to be able to be recognized like that. So I just gave the resume version of you, but for listeners meeting you for the first time, for people who don't know who you are, who is Caroline Sangal, and what's the one thing you want them to take away from this conversation today?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I like to say I'm a saint in the making. I am recognizing that I am, in the world, and this is not the final destination. Now, granted, I'm not trying to have that be today, but I don't have control of that. So I am a wife. I'm a mother, and I try to now help people sort out who they are, what they do best, how to really live lives that don't just look successful on paper or don't just meet someone else's version of success, but are true and fulfilling and all of that. And what do I want somebody to walk away with? Just the reminder that we're all made on purpose for a purpose only we can do. The fun part of life is figuring out what that is. And it's not just about what you're doing, it's also how you're being and how is your performance, your relationships, and your well-being. And each day is an opportunity to start again, get a little better. That's the thing. So keep, if anybody's questioning, if anybody's feeling that, like this is normal, it's not saying you're a problem or, you made a mistake or this or that. It's like, hey, here's something we can now focus on. And what do we want the rest of the day to look like? What do we want the next minute to look like? What do we want the rest of the year? And who are the important people that we do get to have relationships with here? And how can we make those better? Because that's ultimately who's there for you. I learned, didn't matter the accolades that I had in work, didn't matter the accolades that I had in education. I had all those things. And then I think COVID and sometimes, changes, challenges, emergencies help us really see who's really there for us. And I had to pivot after a while to try to put the time into the people that I said mattered most, but they were not getting the best of me. My performance was great. My relationships and my well-being were taking a hit. And recognizing that, getting over myself, realizing that it wasn't about if I quit something, I'm not a quitter. I'm choosing to focus my time on what I say is truly important to me and what I believe is really going to be a meaningful, helpful impact.
Becoming a better you.
Becoming a better me, man.
And
And a better me, not just by something on a paper, but a better me that I feel better too. And that took work. It took a lot of work.
I bet.
And it's still a work in progress. So
I mean, you move from scientist to helping others in the mental realm, and that's got to be a big leap of faith and actually yourself, your self-worth in the end as well.
absolutely. Yeah, I used to. So back in the day, I studied rubber and how cracks started and grew, right? And so it's like, okay, now, first of all, there are people that spend their careers learning about that and doing that on the regular. Good for them, right? You want that. You want to know that if your tire gets a little crack in it, that it's not just going to catastrophically break and
Right.
you're going to then have an accident on it. You do want that. What I didn't realize, even when I was doing it, is that there are some people that is their day in, day out thing. But even when I was doing that, I wasn't trying. I got to break a lot of things on purpose. Now that was cool because you know how many times you grow up and your mom's like, "Don't break anything." Don't. And I'm like, "Wait a minute. Not only can I break stuff, it's on purpose, and I'm gonna get this really cool degree because I'm breaking stuff. Freaking awesome, man!" And I was trying to figure out how to make the materials stronger. So you had to see how they broke to make them stronger. Now, fast forward a couple decades later, I still do that with people. I know what it's like to have something start and it's just a little bit and it grows a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit. And then the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of doing something different. So I know what it's like to break things. I know what it's like to break. And I know what it's like to try to fix that before it becomes a catastrophic failure and to try to repivot and make something stronger. And so it's the same overall work, just the subject is different. And also, let's just be real. How many scientists have you met and do they talk like me? I could do it. I could do it really well, but sometimes they're a little more reserved. They're a little more quiet. And so just recognizing, and where I was too much sometimes as a scientist from this extroversion, right? Reality is I was made like this just on purpose to try to be a voice, to try to help others, to try to help them get better. That was some of my formal training and some of the rigor that was my foundation. And I'm so glad that I get to do other things.
That's an awesome outlook at it as well. That's a fantastic outlook and oversight of it in your own eyes. And that's what a lot of us need to realize is sometimes we are not what we realize we are or can be. Is we can always move up, but we don't need to break ourselves down to be able to do it.
Correct. And if you find that you are breaking, hey, that's okay. This is information. Kind of just being some of that scientific mindset was good though, right? Because it's like things are an experiment and scientists observe what's happening. Right. It's not good or bad. It just is. It's just data, right? And so even in our lives, let's observe what's happening. It just is. And then what, right? And so it even like, you remember back in the day, the scientific method, right? Like I have a hypothesis and I'm gonna get my materials and now I'm gonna make my experiment and then I'm gonna get my data and I have my observations and then I make my conclusions. And then you start again. And then you start again. That's continuous improvement. It's just a different framework. We can do that also with our lives, with what we're doing. You guys do that with like root cause corrective analysis, right? You do it as like, what's the best practice? What could I have done better next time I get this thing? Continuous iteration. But like, why is it that we don't just on the regular think about doing that for our own selves? We think about it for our work, but our lives are also our work.
Never would have thought of it that way. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, right. Well, but like this is the thing though, and here's the thing also, there were, and I've had a couple chapters of my career. I had a big chapter in R&D, big chapter being a scientist, breaking things. Then I got laid off. That was a huge hit to the ego because my identity was tied up in what I did.
Right.
My identity was tied up in my education. Right now I'm not bitter. I'm thankful. It didn't happen to me. It happened for me. It took me some time to realize that. And we get to start again. It's just data. It's okay. Nobody's expecting any one of us to be perfect. In fact, Tony Robbins, big personal development guy, he says perfect is the lowest standard because it's not possible. So let's see something as it is. How do we want it to be? You see it as it is, not worse than it is, right? Know where you're starting from. Where do you want to go? And then get a map. What's a map? Well, in your car, it's a GPS. I'm here and I'm trying to go there, and let me plug it in and get there. For your own self, where are you? What have you identified are things you could work on? No judgment. We're just here. This is a thing. And then where do you want to go? Then let's get a map. And that is a massive action plan to make it happen. But you have to pause. Sometimes you got to get out of that situation. You got to get out of that emergency before you can see clear. Because in the emergency, you're just go time. Go, 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 do it. And then afterwards, we spend so much of our time just going and going and going and going that it takes something catastrophic to break before we're like, oh, shoot. You get whispers of things you could do better. Whisper, whisper, whisper. You don't listen to that, then you're going to get your ass sat down. Right. Pardon my French, right? And so that had to happen to me a couple of times. What?
I said that's part of this podcast. It's all good.
Okay, well, thank gosh, because I got a little bit of a sailor mouth there. A lot of bit of a sailor mouth. But anyway, my dad's like, "Girl, please," and I'm like, "Okay, Daddy." But sometimes you have to pause. You got to allow yourself that. Even like if you're hunting or you're doing something, you got to sharpen your knife. If you're shooting, you got to fill up the bullets, right? But it's not just about us like, okay, yes, eating, yes, exercise, yes, sleep. Those are all important. But yes, just pausing without anything to take a moment to breathe and also realize there's so much we try to control, so much, right? I did this. I still do this. And then the reality is, let's think about this. What is happening that we're not controlling? Well, the sun is rising and setting. The weather's going to be what it's going to be. I'm not consciously telling myself to breathe or my heart to beat or my cells to rejuvenate or the urge to need to go use the bathroom. Like, I don't tell myself that. I decide to react. But like, how much of life are we really controlling?
True. Not much.
Not much. And so then what's our thoughts about it? Let me let go a little bit of some of that stuff that I'm not controlling anyway. But what can I control?
Yeah.
Where is my time, effort, and energy going? And how much of that is building up my own? How much of that is putting my own oxygen mask on before I help everybody else? Because I spent a couple decades there. I could tell you everything my husband liked, my kids liked, what they like to do, what they like to eat, how they like to have anything. And I forgot about me. I had to Google how to cry. I wasn't able to play because every time I went to go to try to sit and play while the kids or somebody doing something, I'm looking around the living room and I'm seeing all the crap that's out of place. And it's like, I can't get those moments back. Now they're teenagers and now I don't know anything, but I wish I could have paused earlier. I wish I could have recognized that that wasn't wasting time, that taking time for my own self, sorting my own stuff out could have been the most important investment that I ever had. And in my relationships with my family, my relationships with, the creator, all of that, like that's where it's at.
Yes, ma'am. So just to get a little bit more in depth on here is, you ever hit a career high and felt nothing? That's where Caroline's story starts. When achievement stopped feeling like alignment and the metrics no longer matched that meaning. She's now teaching others how to pause before they break, just as she said a minute ago. So you've said Burnout can wear a designer suit. What does that mean in real life?
That's cool.
You didn't
Well,
think I did my research, did you?
you did a lot of research, right? And I'm like, do I even wear designer suits? I mean, yeah. Anyway, but like, I don't. But I'm going to a conference next week in San Antonio. I'm so excited. I went to like Macy's last night. I did get a suit for like $20, and I'm like, this is amazing.
Oh yeah.
This suit is not $20. Anyway, so but you can look successful on the outside. I played the role for a long time. And I used to try to act like I had my stuff all together and, oh, I am so great. My name is Dr. Carolyn Sangal, and I have this PhD, and I got this award, and I developed multi-million dollars of adhesive to bond metal parts in cars. So important that you have no freaking clue that that part even exists and that there's an adhesive in there. But by golly, I made it. And so because I made it, well, I got that award, and I am so great. And then I did it again as a recruiter for the chemical industry, making matches between companies and people. And there may have only be 5 people in the world that could do that job. And by golly, I'm going to search and research and find them and talk to them and figure out what they want to do and help them see that's a great match. And woo, I got awards and top level pace setter. And wow, this is so great. Got to have vacations. So cool. You get a nice vacation. And then it's in February. No kid has vacation then. So it's like, now I earned this vacation. That's this important thing. And I can't even take the people that I love dearly. And even for me to think that I'm going, I don't know about you guys, but who's really running the show in your family? Is it the beloved husband? Maybe in some ways. Or is it the mom? So even me leaving to try to take this vacation caused a whole lot of stress on my husband to try to get kids to places and back and forth and pick up. And it's just a lot. That's not really a reward, right? And so by many measures, and also at that time when I'm chasing that success to get this thing that was dangling in front of me that sounded really cool, and by golly, I'm going to get it. I also got to a point where I was class 2 obesity.
Oh, wow.
High blood pressure with not 1, not 2, but 3 different medicines. I ended up developing supraventricular tachycardia.
Oh, hey,
I would just sit
fun.
and my heart would go to 210, right? Sound like I'm Lamaze breathing. There's no baby. And that's terrifying. And I love my husband, right? What did he say? He said, this was a couple years ago. He's like, take your Fitbit off. And I'm like, okay, well, taking the Fitbit off doesn't mean the problem's solved. That just means we can't see the number anymore. And I'm a scientist. I kind of want to see what we're dealing with. But my body had signs that even though I was successful by many other people's measures, and were the financial rewards that came from that great? Yes, they were. And my own body was breaking down. And now tell me, if you have a good job and somebody's trying to talk to you about another job, when are they calling you? It's nights and weekends.
Yep.
So then what am I doing? When are my kids home? Nights and weekends. But instead of being there for them, I'm yelling at them. Shh, mommy's on a call. Stop it. Oh, hi. Yes, absolutely. Let me tell you. Help me understand a little bit more about it. So I said, stop it. Like, seriously. No one wants that.
Yep.
And that's stress too, right? So if you looked at the lens of look at this successful PhD, look at this thing, or look at their bank account, look at their stuff paid off, and then I'm literally ballooning up, my heart can't handle it, needs something to do. I don't have time for exercise. I don't have time for that. Who has time to take a walk looking at the moms outside? And I'm like, oh, lucky them. They don't know what it's like. Maybe they did. I'm spending my time judging everybody else, imploding my own self, being nasty. Now, you have to discipline your kids, but there is no reason to on the regular have to yell, mommy's on a call. That's not weird. And then thank God my husband is a very consistent, supportive guy, because I don't know that I would have stayed with me from all of that. I didn't even want to be myself. Right. But here I am successful in one plane, and the other things are literally imploding. And it took time. Thank God my husband, he's a peacekeeper, people pleaser, peacekeeper. But he finally said something around our 20th wedding anniversary. And he's like, and I'd been thinking about leaving the company that I was at for a long time. I was at a small family owned company. Awesome, right? Except that's not my family. So that wasn't my last name. So it didn't matter how hard I worked, how much I did stuff. Reality was I wasn't going to get to be much different than what I was because I'm not their family. Now, I thought about leaving for years and years, but I also didn't want to quit. Finally, my husband sat me down and he's like, look, it was our 20th wedding anniversary. And he says, I'm terrified. I'm like, what's going on? And he said, I don't think we're going to have another anniversary, honestly, because I know, right? And you're like, what? Because you are literally killing yourself. Literally. I know who you are. I have known you all these years. My concern is the version that you're showing our kids is not actually who you are. They're not getting to know you. You are killing yourself. Look, I don't care what you do. Figure it out. I'm going to support you 100%. But if you need to leave, leave. And I'm like, what the heck, man? We got a kid getting ready to go to college. This doesn't make any sense. How can that happen? And he said, so what?
We'll figure it out.
I'm like, what do you mean, so what? He said, so what? I'm like, don't we need this money? He said, what does money matter if you're not here?
Yep.
If you aren't here, none of it matters. So you need to figure out what it is that you say is important. But I tell, girl, honey, you're a safe bet. And I'm like, oh, shoot, there's pressure. There's pressure. What do you mean? Oh, man. But I left. So it's like, did I quit? Well, I had to write out all my commission checks coming in because the hell if I work for them for free.
Right.
But then I decided to just invest in myself, pause, and I developed that method, the next success method that I now guide people through. And it doesn't matter what their career is. It doesn't matter what their education is. It doesn't matter any of that. The pattern is the same. The pattern of being successful by some measure and not having it figured out for yourself and feeling like crap inside, but putting on that front that everything's fine. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. I mean, I totally just whipped this place together about 3 days ago while yelling. But come on in. Let's have a great time. I mean, how many of us do that, though, right?
Yeah. That actually brings my next question, too, is so break down your next success method for us. What are the 4 pillars and why do they matter?
Absolutely. Okay. So before we get to that, I want to say most people think of their career. I'll say your career is like an iceberg.
Yep.
So imagine a huge iceberg. Above the surface, you see all the ice. And below the surface, if you look what's below the water, that ice goes down 4, 5, 6 levels deep. Most people for their jobs, they think the top, they think the ice they can see. Oh, that's the title, the salary, and the location. If I have all those, I am good. I have a good job. From a title, salary, and location, okay? But what's really driving it is all those layers underneath. And that's what I cover with the next success method. So I will help next chapter explorers. What does that mean? What the heck do I want to do next? Become authentic success creators. What is authentic success? Authentic success is different for everyone. It's what you define it to be. It's not your title, salary, location that somebody else said. It's you. And so how do we do that? We do it by, I figured out, because I'm like, I'm going to treat this like another dissertation. What is it? How is it? Man, come on, God, can't you? Why is it that this is the thing, this people being unfulfilled? I can't believe you don't have anybody doing that. Why can't I find a way to help myself? He's like, ha, 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 ha. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. And I was like, okay. So the 4 pillars are natural abilities. Okay, well, what the heck is a natural ability? That is your hardwired gifts and talents, your starting point. Those things that probably since you were about a teenager, those things that you just do well. Like, it's not like, and you didn't study anything particularly, you just do it well, right? Some people have a lot of ideas. Some people are able to focus. Some people can see a drawing in 2D and immediately visualize what that looks like in 3D. Some people can remember numbers super well, like automatically calculate in their head and all that stuff. Other people might remember words, right? And now there are 18 different areas that I have an assessment to help identify where's your starting point, and also recognizing like it's not good or bad, right? The person with a lot of ideas could be great for writing or speaking. The person who can focus could be phenomenal for surgery. Both are good. Now, I also want my surgeon to have ideas if the thing goes wrong. And, but like, it's not good or bad. How the things have initially been poured into us, that's on purpose. And I was trying to find out what is where's the starting point? Because you can build skills either way. Okay, so then what's the difference between an ability and a skill? The ability is that hardwired baseline where you're at. The skill is if you're building it on top of something you're already good at, it takes you less time, effort, and energy, right? So if somebody's super great with numbers, them figuring out their bills at the end of the month, not a big thing. For me, doesn't matter how many accolades I have. My brain just goes, do we have money or not? Like, how much is your gas bill? I don't freaking know. I don't. That's not my jurisdiction. Thank goodness. My husband, he's great at that to the penny, all the time. Years later, but natural abilities. So starting out, that's one thing. Because that is important to understand what's giving you energy, what's taking energy away. Okay, that's a thing. To give yourself some language, because just because I was me, didn't know what I was like to actually describe parts of me. Who talks about that? What's your idea of productivity? No one talks about that. Like no one. Exactly. But that's I think a missing point. Another one is communication behavior, right? That affects so much of our lives. People are either direct or indirect.
Yep.
They are open or guarded. It's not wrong. It's just a different approach. Now, I thought a lot of times back in the day, somebody that wasn't like me, well, they were either an idiot or wrong, right? Hey, that's a natural part of growing. Yep. Now it's like, just because somebody has a different approach, that's not wrong. But what I can do is try to figure out what is my normal approach and how can I adjust my language so that it is the way they need to hear it. So let's say the trash is full. That is not my thing. I do a lot of other things. And all of a sudden I'm like pushing it down and I got to keep pushing. And I'm like, what the heck, right? If I'm like, dude, what the heck? This trash is beyond freaking full. I can't believe you didn't empty that. Come on. Now, I don't know many people that would respond to that. I tell you, my husband will not. But if I'm like, hey, honey, oh, I noticed that the trash is getting a little bit kind of full. On your way out to work this morning, would you mind just maybe, if you had time, if it's not a big deal, if you could take that out, boy, that would just be so helpful for me. I'm just trying to get the trash out, right? So like we do that a little bit over time as we realize not everybody adjusts to us. We have to adjust to the situation. Third one, mental fitness, mental resilience. What is that? That's the chatter in our mind, the stuff that we are not letting anybody else know. And there are times how that develops is as we are children, we develop ways of being that are safe for us. But as a child, we can observe things and we come up with conclusions that might not have the complexity that we need. So that's how people end up becoming a people pleaser. That's how people end up becoming a victim. That's how people end up becoming a hyperachiever. That's what I was getting recognized. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep doing that. Right. It served me to some points and it also sabotaged me. So that CD going on in our head, that background music, we can change it. We just don't know. But in order to change it, you need to understand what is it playing. So again, data-driven assessment. Let's figure out where we're at. Everything is a data-driven assessment because I'm, not fooling around. But that is a way. And then the last component is, does someone have an integrated vision? What the hell does that mean? Okay. What do you want your life to look like? Literally, number one, what do you want your life to look like? Well, I want happy children, maybe not happy. I want children who communicate with me. I want children who want to be with me sometime when they choose to. After they leave, I want them to feel like coming to see me is not just a chore, but something that they'd like to do. Still working on that. I want to have a place where, my stuff is kind of figured out financially and I can enjoy a little bit. I want to be able to give back. I want to be able to help the world be a better place. That's what I want in my thing. And then what do I want my career to look like to fuel that life? There's the difference. Most people didn't figure out what they want their life to look like. You didn't figure out that there's 8 factors that actually influence your life and your career. What is that? What are they? Your career development stage. Let's be real. An 18-year-old has a whole lot more openness, even though it doesn't seem like it, than a 65-year-old, right? 18-year-old's like, well, what? You need me to do what? You're going to pay me how much? I'll do that. Okay. I got to work nights and weekends, all hours.
Okay.
I get paid extra. Okay. Now, a 65-year-old is like, you seriously? Nah, I am only working this time because you want me. That's where I am. Right. So like, where are you in your career development stage? What are your natural abilities? How are you hardwired? What are the skills, the things you've invested time, effort, and energy to learn? What are your interests? What fascinates you? Right. Now, telling a 15-year-old, pick your job based on your interests. Okay. Well, at 5, they like Barbies and dinosaurs. And at 15, they like, I don't know, whatever, Fortnite. And at 25, they probably still like Fortnite. But you're going to like something different, right? Your interests change. And so what does that mean? That means what you want for your life changes, what you want in your career changes. Your personal style. So are you an introvert, extrovert? Are you a generalist or a specialist? Do you like to know a little about a lot? Or you like to know a lot about a very narrow area? And how do you communicate? That affects how you show up in life and how you show up in work, right? Then your family, the family you came from and the family you have now or the friends you have now influence what could be a good fit. Because some people are like, oh, well, we are college educated and that's just what we do. So I'm going to go to college. Or it's like, I don't necessarily know who my mom was. I'm living with my dad and that guy can't keep money in his hand. So he is check to check. And I tell you what, I am not going to be like that. I am not going to be like that. So it's like that influences your view of what's even possible and what you think you want to do. Or there was that time where I had kids that were in a charter school. There's no bus. Guess who's the bus?
You.
Me. Right? So I needed a job that was going to be flexible to allow me to drop them off and pick them up. Right? That changes. And then your goals, what do you want for your goal? What are your values? Right? So my value is integrity, doing the right thing always. And the company I'm working for is cutting corners just to make money. It doesn't work for me for the long run. Doesn't work. So these factors, most people don't consider. This is that underneath the ice, what's really going on is that. What do you want your life? So what is my mission besides helping people question their careers and get it, sorted out for their next chapter, is also realizing how can we define what you want your life to look like? And then because you can have a career that fuels it, you can. Well, I can't do that. Okay. Maybe you can't do that where you are. I'm not saying leave where you are, but if you could just sit back and dream for a moment, what would it look like? What would it look like?
So what would you tell people that don't really know where they want to go or what they want to do?
Yeah. I would say, hey, congratulations for getting this point right now. Congratulations for realizing you don't know. That is a perfectly good answer. Perfectly good. And do you want to know? Let's think about, well, if you try to reflect on your day, even if it's just a couple minutes in the car, turn the radio off for a minute. Not this podcast, right. Right. But like not this one, somebody else. But like just reflect a little bit. What are the things in your life in your day, in the last day, in the last week that gave you energy and what took it away? Let's just start to notice that. Let's just start, because the things that give me energy are exhausting for somebody else. The things that give my husband energy are exhausting for somebody else, right? So like, thank God he likes numbers and number crunching. Woo, that's phenomenal. Great fit. Together we are a whole person. But I don't like that, right? So if you just even start to sort that out for yourself, what gave me energy, what took it away? Let me notice it first. Now, okay, now what? And now what? And what do I want? Well, do I want to be drained? Do I want it to be that when I come home, I am so spent by what I just did that I am either grabbing food or grabbing a beverage or another substance or scrolling social media until I'm so exhausted I finally pass out? And then I wake up and I start it all over again. Is that what I want? Is that what I want? How are the relationships that I have with the people that I say matter to me? Is there any relationship I could repair if I humble myself? For the long run, is that good for me? Do I need to forgive somebody? Do I need to be forgiven? So just kind of sorting these out and just kind of asking yourself some questions. If you really could do anything, dream anything, what would that look like? Just for a moment. We did it as children all the time. Okay. Now, but there may have been somebody who's like, I'm going to be a professional football player, and their abilities lined them up better to be a fan. I'm just saying. But you can still, maybe that's something about football. Maybe you're going to coach. Maybe you're going to, whatever. Maybe you're going to get to go to more games to enjoy that thing. But there are elements of what it would be like if we just dream instead of be like, well, that's not possible. You can do anything you want, but music is a hobby. Okay, it's not for some people, right? Some people find a way to if they do like music and they do have a day night job, whatever, maybe that means they're going to all of a sudden sing on Sunday. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. There's a way to build in some of those things to have our life be a little bit more enjoyable. Our life be but most people go to work. And work has a mission, vision, values, and you're going to become this thing because you can then, that's how you're going to need to maybe get a raise later. Whether you do or don't get a raise and how much depends on how well you conform to that mission, vision, values. And you can do it for a while. And then as you add people to your life or add people to the world, sometimes that changes a little. And I no longer want to be on call. I have to be right now, but in the long term, I don't want to be. So what would that look like? Where else, if I could use, I don't have to do what I just did. How can I elevate? I could do what I just did. Most people lose their job, get another job. And what do? They go try to find the same job that drained them, working for someone else. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't. There are so many people, so many needs, so many ways we can use the gifts and things that we've been given, the skills that we've done, and it can be in a completely different way. I'm doing completely different stuff now. Completely different.
Yes, ma'am. So, question: what if someone's burned out on one job? What would you recommend them do on that?
Yeah, if you are burned out on your job, okay, hey, congratulations, I recognize you're burned out on your job. Now let's try to figure out, what is it? What is it? What is it about it? Is it the people? Is it the tasks? Is it certain tasks? Is it certain people? And then now let's start to try to make a little bit of a plan, right? I have had some people come to me and they are like, I am getting out of this job. I'm like, okay, but wait for a moment. Now, number one, do you have a spouse that has great insurance and a great job? Can they absorb all the finances? Pretty rare. If you do, congratulations. We've got flexibility. If you don't, that's okay. Let's figure this out. Let's not don't piss somebody off. Don't get fired for telling them what they really need to know.
Right.
Let's plan it. Take a minute. Let's take the control away from that job defining what you can do. And let's put it into you defining where you're spending your time, effort, and energy. So let's take a moment. Let's see. Can we adjust anything? Can we? Can we adjust our mind, our chatter in our mind? Can we? If we could, maybe we can. Maybe it can be a little bit better. Is it really the person, or is it what I'm thinking about the person? Is it really the task or what I'm thinking about the task? Can anybody else do that? If I only advocated for myself, might I be able to do something a little bit more of what I wanted to do? It's possible. And if it's not, then what is it? Then it gives us information for the next place interview. Oh, tell me about yourself. Man, I'll tell you what I really love to do. I love being that emergency person in the moment, coming up with the plan and help delegating what needs to be done. That is what really drives me. I am so excited. And so I believe that your position is offering these kind of abilities. And boy, I could see myself really doing some great things, right? What do you really love to do? I love to be the guy that cleaned up the blood. Really? That makes me freak out.
True.
But, to everybody. So, but sometimes we get into a situation and it's like, well, I have to do that. I have to do that. You may have to for a while, but you might be like, hey, let's think about, guys, can we have a meeting and just try to talk about what are the things that we all really love doing the most? Because I wonder if the next time we go on a call, I wonder if we can just, if with that mindset, maybe we can kind of like do the things that we all really love doing.
Yeah.
And then if it's not possible, then what can we do now? Like, can we just have an open discussion about it? Is it possible? So that's what I would say.
Okay, so kind of on the same lines, for someone listening who's terrified to admit they hate the path they're on, where do they start and how do they start?
Look around. Look outside. Look outside. Look at all the trees. Look at the flowers. Look at the blades of grass. Look at the rocks. Look at all the things. Look at all the beauty around you. And you're also beautiful. Those things are all there on purpose. Whatever you want to say, whoever you want to say made this place, right? They decided that each one of those things, even the freaking mosquito and all those ticks, they all have a purpose, though. I'm just saying. Now, if those things that you're like, seriously, if they all have a purpose, so do you. You are just as valuable in the world of all this beauty and the mountains and the, phenomenal oceans and all of this stuff. The same creator also just said, you know what? This world is not complete without Christopher.
Right.
This world is not complete without Carolyn. So recognizing number one, okay, something that knows way more than any of us thought we were necessary and needed. Okay, then who the heck am I to think I'm not enough, that I'm not good enough, or that I'm stuck doing what I can, right? What I have to do. We're not stuck. We are in America, for God's sakes.
Right.
It is still the land of opportunity. It is still the place of possibility. We are not stuck unless we are putting, most people, right? Are there people stuck still?
Yeah,
yes.
Of course.
But we are stuck if we are allowing ourselves to be stuck. Are you scared of that? Everything you want is, think about it. Everything you've ever wanted is outside of your comfort zone. There was a time where there are things that you are so proficient at, you could do it in your sleep. But at the first time you may have gone to do it, unless it was lined up with a natural ability, you may have been terrified. But if you could master that, if you could explore, if you could do, like, what do you got to lose? What do you got to lose to try something a little bit different? What do you got to lose to have a conversation? What do you got to lose to let your mind wander into possibility, into what's possible, what's great, what's available? What do you got to lose? Nothing. Instead of being like, oh, dang, this sucks. I got to keep doing this and they don't paying me right. And they're not doing anything. And then my kids are complaining and my spouse is an idiot. And then my car's not working. Like, you can also think about, hey, wow, sun is shining today. I got air in my lungs. This feels kind of nice.
Change your perspective.
Yesterday, I'm driving on the highway and all the leaves are going off the trees and it's going on my car and they're all flying toward me. I'm like, this is kind of like Mario Kart. It's actually kind of fun. But I had to get myself to a position to just notice some of this beauty around me. Look around. Outside, it's not as, you can have one of the things I like to do is take a piece of paper, big old piece of paper, 8.5 by 11. Take a black marker or a black pen and draw a circle right in the middle of it. Sometimes it feels like we're in that darkness and we can't get out. And it is consuming and it is overwhelming. And I have had days that went into weeks, that went into months where I was suffering that I could barely even get out of bed. I did. And if I zoom out, there's a tremendous amount of white space all outside of that.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes when you're in the middle of that darkness, you can't even do like that. You just laying there is enough. It's hard enough. But sometimes you got to zoom out a little bit, let go, admit it to someone who's a safe place. And if you don't have a safe place in your current environment, look me up on LinkedIn, send me an email. I'll have a conversation with you for free. I'll be your safe place. I got no judgment. All I see is the beauty of each individual person that's put on this earth and how I can help remind them of that and help them plan what do they want their next success to look like. You're already successful, you got to today, but what do you want to do next? It's entirely possible.
Right. Very true. And that actually kind of correlates to my next question for you. Is so you work with clients at a lot of crossroads. What is the first sign that they're ready to move from surviving to thriving?
The first sign I see is they call me or they send me an email, right? The first sign is also one of the other first signs is starting to choose yourself and be like, you know what? There's a little bit more. And that pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of thinking something different. That doesn't mean you have to leave yet. It doesn't mean that. But we can start to plan it out so that when that opportunity does present itself, or when you do create it to be that way, that you know what you're looking for, that you have it a little clearer, right? So it's okay. It is okay. What would you tell your kid? If you have a kid and you love your kid and they're nice, right? All these things. But what would you tell? You want the best for them. Right. Anybody that's never seen a baby, a brand new baby, man, your heart just explodes and multiplies with love for that being. And you just want whatever possible for them. Why don't we look at ourselves like that? We are our own child. We are our own babies. We are our own possibilities. I want the best for me too.
Right.
Right? Like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, would you tell your child if they're like, I don't feel like playing baseball, I feel like playing football? Would you be like, oh, gosh, that's horrible? No, you'd be like, let's go get a football. Let's try to start tossing this around. So if you feel like maybe you could be doing something different, if you feel like maybe that's not the right thing, then what you did was beautiful for a chapter. All those accomplishments, all those people you helped, all those things that you did, all the stuff that you've got going on in your life now because of that investment in yourself of what you just did. Hey, that is a foundational building block. Doesn't go away. It wasn't wasted. It's not useless. And now what? Let's plan it. Let's plan it next. Let's see. Let's figure it out.
I love it. That makes a lot of sense. And it's a great way to put it is we need to start treating ourselves better. We need to start looking and itemizing our own resources and figuring out what we need to do next to better ourselves, to strengthen our mental capacity, to improve our mental health. That's, I think, one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't realize, as you were saying a minute ago, is to move from one career to another. If it's mentally breaking you down, you need to leave. You need to move on. You need to find a way.
And you need to plan it, right? You need
to
plan. How can we not drop all the balls and let's gather it up and do something else, right? Have you ever, like, I don't know, next time you go through a drive-through at like a McDonald's or something, right? Taco Bell, whatever the case may be. You ever get that, like, that one person that's like, you can just tell they are pure joy. They are loving their life. And they give you your food and have a great day. And they are sincere about it.
Right.
They are happy and they are fulfilled. And they work there.
Yeah.
And then, like, so it's like a couple times of that. And I'm thinking, like, what do they have that I don't have? What do they have that I don't have? Because I have something that was like, oh, I was making a bunch more money or doing like something that sounded that, again, title, salary, location, sounded super impressive. And on one hand, I'm like, oh, this person only works at McDonald's. And I'm like, this person has got it going on. They are loving their life. They're showing up as the beauty that they are. So if where you are is not getting the best of you, if you were a lot more fun as a kid than you are now, that's the world putting stuff on you. That's the world. You can take it off too. We are adults. We can take it off in time. Sometimes you need help to get it taken off, right? Every great, phenomenal athlete, top athlete you have ever thought about, the greatest of all time, all had coaches.
Yep.
So how is it we are like better than that? Well, I got my education a long time ago. I have set myself. I am it. Really? Not really. We might need a coach. You might need somebody who can see, ever watch kids play a game? You ever watch kids play soccer or football? And as they are little, they are all like just kind of all going together, and then they cannot see the rest of the field. And that's why the parents that are screaming, go, they have that view outside. The child is just trying to do the best they can of what's right in front of them. Right? Sometimes you need somebody else's perspective who genuinely wants to help you. They can see beyond. They can see more. They can see, instead of that paper with the black dot, they see the whole paper. They see the brightness and the beauty and all the great things. And they know you and all the things that you're like, well, I this and that, and then I made that mistake, and I can't get over that. Nah, none of it. We still woke up today.
Yep.
It does not have to be that way. It does abso-freaking-lutely not. It does not. Zoom out. What do we want it to be? How can we make one tiny step different toward that? Whether that's taking a break for ourselves to just be like, I'm going to set a timer. And either for 60 seconds, I'm either just going to focus on my breath and just feeling all those feelings about my breath. Like, who does that?
Right.
But I tell you, if you do, you're going to feel a lot better. Or I'm going to think about, if I could do one thing, what could I do? Not judging myself by what I've already done. I'm going to talk about what I can do next. You see that possibility in what your child can be. Why don't we give ourselves that grace? Why don't we give ourselves that permission to be like, you know what? Good job, man. Way to go. Way to go. I'm proud of you. I love you.
That's the biggest thing right there, is you got to love yourself. You got to be proud of yourself in the end.
And it's hard to do, though. It's hard to do, though, a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to do if we're caught in that thing of not good enough, or not smart enough, or not thin enough, or not fit enough, or not rich enough, or not patient enough, or all this enoughs.
Right.
Enough with the enough already.
Very true.
We can get better. We teach our children how to get a little better. We teach them how to wait in line. We teach ourselves how to do it. But like sometimes it's like the same program that got you here won't get you there. We buy new phones with upgraded software, new computers, new cars with fancy electronics. When's the last time you reset your own hardwiring in your mind? Doesn't take that long, but you have to know you have to have somebody to help you install that new program.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so that was Carolyn Sangal, scientist, coach, and proof that success means nothing without alignment. Carolyn, where can listeners connect with you and find your resources?
Awesome. So you can look at nextsuccesscareers.com. I have a podcast called Your Next Success. It's at nextsuccesspodcast.com. You can find me, Carolyn Sangal, on LinkedIn. But if you just get to nextsuccesscareers.com, that'll have branches for all of the other things. But really, genuinely, again, thank you, all first responders, from the bottom of my heart. The times that I have needed to have that, and I had no idea what was going on, and I was terrified, and it has happened a couple different times. I've had 11 different surgeries at this point.
Yeah.
But every time I come as somebody in that profession, I am inspired. I am grateful. I am thankful. So thankful for every single person, all the gifts and talents that you're sharing with the world. And I can't wait to see what you do next. And if anybody needs help, wants to talk to somebody, I'm here. I'm here for you. And thank you for the beauty that you bring to the world.
Yes, ma'am. And before we close, what's the one thing you want listeners to remember from this episode?
You are already a success because you got to today. And what would you love to do next?
I love it. I couldn't have said that better myself. All right, let me go ahead and hit record. If you think it's too heavy to say it anyway. It beats a eulogy. You don't have to apologize for surviving however you can. You're not the reason things are heavy. You're the reason they're still moving. Need support right now? Reach out to me. Reach out to somebody. Text or call 988 or visit 988lifeline.org. You're not alone. Not in this job. Not in this fight. Want to share your story or connect? Visit critical-run.com or message the Facebook page, Dispatched and Dysfunctional. We're building this for you, for them, for all of us.